내일은 아침에 일찍 일어날 거다. 그리고 운동을 할 것이다. 그리고 청소도 하겠다. 내일은 참 보람찬 하루이다. Let's go over how to make the future tense in Korean. If you're not ready for this yet, take a look at my other videos on how to conjugate the yo form and the past tense. I should mention first that although it's called the future tense, it's really more like a probable future tense than a definite future tense. What I mean by that is, the future tense in Korean might mean will, and it might mean would, depending on how it's used. I'll go over this in more detail in another video, but for now just know that the future tense in Korean has two uses and doesn't only mean will. There are two main ways to make the future tense that you need to know, and I'll explain how to use them and how they're different. First, here are the rules for them. The first takes the verb stem, then adds 겠다. Then you can leave it alone if you want the plain form, or conjugate it. If you conjugate it, you could get 겠어요, or 겠습니다, or 겠습니까, for example. Here are a couple examples using this form. 언제 하겠어요? 언제 하겠어요? When will you do it? 저는 학교에 가겠습니다. 저는 학교에 가겠습니다. I will go to school. The second way takes the verb stem, then adds either an 을 if it ends in a consonant, or just the 릴 if it ends in a vowel. Then add 것 and 이다. Then you can conjugate it. This would give you 것이에요 or 것입니다, although it's also common to hear just 거예요 and 겁니다. In slang, this would become just 거야. Or alternatively, if you just wanted the plain form, you could leave it alone as 것이다 or shorten it to 거다. Plain form is often used in news articles and when talking to yourself, so you'll come across it often, and I'll make a video later on explaining how and when to use it. Anyway, here are a couple examples using this form. 철수는 피자를 먹을 거예요. 철수는 피자를 먹을 거예요. 철수 will eat pizza. 그래서 안 할 거야? 그래서 안 할 거야? So you're not going to do it? Okay, now that you've got just a few examples of each one, let's go over just one more thing and then we'll practice with some more sentences. So if both of these forms are future tense, then how do we know which one to use? A simple answer to that question is this. Form number 1 sounds a bit more polite than form number 2. So if you're not sure which one to use when using the future tense, I'd recommend using form 2 over form 1 until you're more certain, just because form number 2 sounds a tad bit more casual. But for those of you who already know the future tense and want to learn a bit more, here's the actual difference between the two forms. When you use form number 1, you're putting more emphasis on the verb. When you use form number 2, you're putting more emphasis on the subject of that verb. 내가 하겠다 would therefore be almost like saying 내가 하겠다, I will do it. And 내가 할 거다 would be like saying 내가 할 거다, I will do it. The emphasis isn't as strong as this, but I've exaggerated it here to make it easier to understand. Before we finish, here are some more examples using both of the forms we've gone over today. 한국은 여름에 정말 덥겠어요. 한국은 여름에 정말 덥겠어요. Korea will be really hot in the summer. 한국은 겨울에 정말 추울 거예요. 한국은 겨울에 정말 추울 거예요. Korea will be really cold in the winter. Notice that descriptive verbs like 춥다 still conjugate to their special rules when used with this form in the future tense. If you're not sure about conjugation rules like this, check out my conjugation video. 어디에서 놀 거예요? 어디에서 놀 거예요? Where will we play at? Note that the verb stem for 놀다, to play or hang out, ends in a lir. If the verb stem ends in a lir, you don't have to add another one to this form, so it just looks like this. 집에서 뭘 먹을 거예요? 집에서 뭘 먹을 거예요? What will you eat at home? 내일 우리 할머니 댁에서 만날 겁니다. 내일 우리 할머니 댁에서 만날 겁니다. Tomorrow we will meet at my grandmother's house. 그가 심심하지 않겠어요? 그가 심심하지 않겠어요? Will he not be bored? Notice how the future tense works in negative sentences. Here are a couple more examples with negatives. 저는 내일 학교에 안 갈 거예요. 저는 내일 학교에 안 갈 거예요. I will not go to school tomorrow. 그 사람에게 아무것도 말하지 않을 거야. 그 사람에게 아무것도 말하지 않을 거야. I will not say anything to that person. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, I recommend practicing by making your own examples from what you've learned today. Also, new videos are posted every week, so click subscribe and follow along. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. 아 몰라. 그냥 놀지 뭐.